This past Sunday I was out here looking and realized that the rest of the shore had washed away and there was an entire ship there.
Ford comes to the riverfront to look for artifacts, but when he saw this, it was a surprise he wasn't anticipating.
I immediately text friends and was like, holy moly, I think I found a ship, a sunken ship.
Beneath America's rivers and lakes lie time capsules of our past. War-torn ironclads, treasure-laden galleons.
New tonight, low water levels along the Mississippi has exposed a piece of history that dates back to the 1800s.
Even prehistoric hunting camps waiting for droughts or deep-sea technology to bring them back into view. The Mississippi River drought reveals history. The Mississippi River, a long-standing symbol of American strength and unity, has lately been severely impacted by drought conditions, causing its waters to recede significantly in many areas. This environmental change has had dire consequences, putting the region's waterway system and even drinking water in danger. Levels in the lower Mississippi, south of Cairo, Illinois, are the lowest seen in over 3 decades. With the river touching 10 states and branching into numerous tributaries, this drought has ripple effects across more than 40% of the United States. Beyond the environmental and economic peril affecting cargo ships that transport about 500 million tons of goods yearly, including a huge percentage of the world's food supply, leading to shipping delays and increased fuel costs. The receding waters have begun to unearth a diverse assortment of items previously submerged. A 1915 ferry wreck emerged from the mud near Baton Rouge.
We believe this is a ship that was manufactured in 1896 in Indiana.
While a man from Memphis discovered a Civil War-era bullet and a Union cartridge box plate surfaced under a Memphis bridge. In Coahoma County, skeletal remains, including a jawbone and rib bones, were discovered along the riverbank. These revelations remind us that every ebb and flow can rewrite history, turning a riverbed into an open-air museum of American stories lost and found beneath the waves. Known islands, like Tower Rock in Missouri, are popping back up and are accessible on foot for the first time in a century. People are discovering household items like keys, fans, and phones, as well as larger objects like sunglasses and barbecue grills. More significantly, historical relics are emerging. Dozens of previously sunken ships of various types, from houseboats to historical vessels, are slowly being revealed. La Pelican, a 3-masted vessel from the 1600s that belonged to explorer Iberville and sank after a $2 million investment to feature it as a tourist attraction, is now partially visible near Donaldsonville, Louisiana. In Biloxi, Mississippi, residents have noticed the newly unearthed remains of the Diamond Lady, an early riverboat casino from the early 1990s, found in McKellar Lake, south of Memphis. Perhaps one of the most remarkable finds was made by Wiley Pruitt in Oxford, Mississippi, who discovered a fossilized jaw from an American lion. These species went extinct over 10,000 years ago, only the 4th such jaw ever found in Mississippi. The revealing of these objects underscores how environmental changes can unexpectedly bring the past to light. The Florida Emeralds. Imagine buying a map from a friend and striking it rich. That's close to the experience of Jay Miskovich, an amateur treasure seeker. In 2010, off the Florida Gulf Coast, Miskovich found a large quantity of emeralds after purchasing such a map. A remarkable 80 pounds of emeralds were uncovered. The origins of these emeralds were unknown, and the discovery naturally intrigued the nation. Jay Miskovich's laundry basket of emeralds quickly turned from a treasure dream to a legal and scientific quagmire. He couldn't prove the stones came from any ancient wreck, only that they hailed from Colombia, so their provenance and value remained in doubt. Miskovich even refused to name the diver who sold him the map, calling it secret, while his partner wasn't sure the emeralds came from the mapped spot. Legally, he held custody, but not title, leaving him emerald rich, cash poor as litigation dragged on. Lab tests then found polish and epoxy techniques only used in the last 50 years on some stones, which Miscavige denied applying. Add crippling debts and rival treasure hunters accusing him of fraud, and the haul became a cautionary tale of trouble with treasure. This finding, which seemed almost too good to be true, reportedly came with significant pressure from the federal government as well, believed to have sadly contributed to Miscavige taking his own life. A sudden and tragic twist to a modern treasure hunt. Blackbeard's Queen Anne's Revenge. For those who dream of uncovering pirate history, few finds are as significant as the vessel belonging to the legendary pirate Blackbeard himself. In 1966, an important piece of history was brought to the surface with the help of underwater divers off the coast of Beaufort, North Carolina. The ship, known as the Queen Anne's Revenge, finally saw the light of day once again. The discovery included heavy cannons, some weighing 2,000 pounds each, with a total of 30 cannons found. Each cannonball fired from these weighed at least 6 pounds. Beyond the weaponry, over 280,000 rare historical artifacts were recovered from the site. This find provides tangible links to the age of piracy in American waters, proving that pirates were not confined to the Caribbean, and Blackbeard's brutal end proved it. After he was killed in battle, British soldiers cut off his head and hung it on their ship as a warning to other pirates who dared sail under the black flag, the Lake Michigan Stone Formation. In the depths of Lake Michigan, a fascinating discovery was made, a formation of stones bearing a resemblance to Stonehenge in the United Kingdom. Found not far off the coast, the exact location of this formation has been kept secret due to its sensitive nature. The discovery was made by two treasure hunters who were initially searching for shipwrecks using their sonar equipment. Their sonar screens revealed lines of stones, prompting them to take photos. Pondering what such a formation could be doing in North America, they decided to scuba dive to investigate. Researchers explored several ideas about the site. It first resembled Scottish crannogs, but lacked connecting bridges, then showed possible but inconsistent celestial alignments, and was most likely a religious or funerary monument, possibly used for water burials. They found what appeared to be artificially set stones underwater. Further examination revealed that some of the stones had been carved to look like a prehistoric mastodon out of granite. The significance of this find is amplified by the geological history of the area. The bed of Lake Michigan was last dry over 12,000 years ago, suggesting an incredible age for this mysterious formation. The engines of Apollo 11. Space exploration might seem distant from underwater discoveries, but the two worlds converged off the coast of Florida. The CEO of Amazon funded a treasure-seeking operation with a specific mission to find the engines of Apollo 11. Apollo 11 was the first crewed spaceflight to land humans on the moon, achieving this on July 20th, 1969. The mission included astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. This was the mission that famously took Americans to the moon before the Russians. The engines were successfully discovered at the bottom of the ocean, an incredible 14,000 feet deep, the day before the 44th anniversary of the moon landing. Recovering these pieces required quite advanced technology. The research team located sections of the Saturn V rocket, including the thrust chamber and the fuel manifold. These components were the result of diligent work by scientists and engineers striving to make America the leader in the space race. These important American artifacts are now preserved, allowing the public to appreciate the nation's accomplishments. The ghost town of St. Thomas drought conditions can reveal more than just historical artifacts in rivers. They can expose entire lost settlements. At Lake Mead, the primary water reservoir for Las Vegas, water levels have been at an all-time low in recent years due to severe drought. As the reservoir diminishes, features that were once submerged are now reappearing, including an entire town. St. Thomas Town was born from a mistake. Mormon settlers in 1865 thought they were still in Utah or Arizona, only to find out later they had wandered into Nevada. The land, rich at the meeting of the Muddy and Virgin Rivers, had been home long before to the ancestral Puebloans, whose lost city lay just across the river. The Mormons abandoned St. Thomas after a tax dispute, burning their homes and fleeing back to Salt Lake City. But by the 1880s, new settlers turned it into a lively farming town, complete with a school, church, soda fountain, and no electricity or plumbing. Then came the Hoover Dam when it was time to generate electricity. But when Lake Mead started rising in 1935, the town was slowly swallowed. The last resident, Hugh Lord, paddled away from his front door in 1938. Today, when the lake's water recedes, the ghost town of St. Thomas becomes visible and exposed to the sun. Tourists can now visit the ruins of this ghost town, a stark reminder of how quickly water can disappear in desert environments. The mysterious Jersey Shore trains. Off the Jersey Shore, two mysterious trains rest on the seafloor, their presence a puzzle for archaeologists. How they got there remains uncertain. These are some of the oldest models of trains known, dating back to the 1850s. One theory suggests they were deliberately pushed off a boat during a large storm to prevent the vessel from crashing. Today, these machines are completely covered in rust, yet they are amazingly well preserved. Even the smokestacks, distinctive features of these trains, are still visible after a century and a half. Despite the rust, these were considered state-of-the-art technology for their time. The New Jersey Transportation Museum reportedly has plans to bring these trains back to the surface for further research. The existence of a train graveyard in underwater locations is also noted in other contexts. The Colorado River skeletons. Sometimes, underwater discoveries are less historical and more, well, unusual. Scuba divers exploring the Colorado River near Cienega Springs in Arizona stumbled upon a truly bizarre sight at the bottom of the river. While diving, they discovered a few skeletons sitting in lawn chairs, dressed in wigs and sunglasses. One skeleton was even holding a sign. Initially, the diver who found them believed they were real human remains and immediately called the authorities. However, the Arizona police quickly realized the skeletons were fake. The sign held by one skeleton appeared to include the words, "Bernie livin' the dream in the river." This was recognized as a clear reference to the 1989 movie Weekend at Bernie's, where the main characters humorously carry around their deceased boss's body, even losing and recovering it multiple times. In the film, Bernie's corpse does indeed end up in water at one point. The sign also bore the date of August 16, 2014, possibly indicating when the skeletons were placed. The skeletons were strategically positioned in their lawn chairs, which were bound to large rocks to keep them in place. The sheriff's office referred to the scene as a tea party. Lieutenant Curtis Bagby from the La Paz County Sheriff's Department stated that he didn't believe the people who placed them were trying to scare anyone, but rather trying to be funny. The sheriff's office found humor in the situation and did not launch an investigation into who was responsible. They even considered placing the recovered skeletons outside the station for a good laugh. The San Francisco Radioactive Aircraft Carrier. Not all underwater discoveries are welcome or safe. Off the coast of San Francisco, a World War II aircraft carrier was recently uncovered. What makes this find particularly concerning is the cargo it was carrying, hundreds of barrels of radioactive waste. Despite its deadly contents, the aircraft carrier is reportedly in remarkable condition, almost appearing ready for battle. According to nuclear scientists, the radioactive waste is currently not contaminating the ocean. Nevertheless, the fact that this vessel is holding tons of toxic material located right off the coast of a major American city is astounding. Visible damage is also present on the carrier. The Florida Spanish Treasure. The discovery of lost treasure from the age of exploration remains a thrilling prospect, and American waters hold significant examples. The Spanish Empire, with its formidable navy and vast plunder from its colonies in the New World, transported immense wealth back to Spain. However, not all these journeys were successful. In one notable case, a hurricane destroyed a large fleet of boats sailing from Havana, Cuba, to Spain. This lost fleet was carrying an estimated $400 million worth of treasure. Approximately 300 years later, a family in Florida made a rare discovery related to this lost treasure, which subsequently made them millionaires. While an estimated $175 million worth of treasure was ultimately recovered, with the Florida government taking a share, the family was allowed to keep 51 rare coins and other priceless artifacts. The Lost Airship USS Macon. The United States Navy once operated massive flying machines, and one of the largest, the airship USS Macon, met a tragic end. Launched in 1933, the Macon service was brief. Disaster struck after just 2 years. It would become the nation's last great airship. The final resting place of the Macon remained hidden for over 55 years until researchers finally discovered its remains in 1990. The wreckage was found nearly 1,500 feet below the surface of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Its discovery closed a chapter on the history of American airships and highlighted the deep mysteries held by our ocean floor. The Historic USS Monitor. The ironclad warship. USS Monitor is not just a significant American shipwreck. Its discovery and protection were so important that they led to the creation of the nation's first marine sanctuary, the USS Monitor. National Marine Sanctuary was designated on January 30th, 1975, under the National Marine Sanctuaries Act. This designation set a crucial precedent for recognizing the importance of American maritime heritage and using the NMSA as a tool to protect these underwater treasures. While the sources detail its significance and the resulting sanctuary, they do not provide specifics on the date or circumstances of the vessel's initial discovery. The Ghost Fleet of Malows Bay. The Malows Bay Potomac River area is home to a truly unique collection of underwater history. While the sanctuary here contains shipwrecks dating back to the Revolutionary War, it is most famous for the remains of over 100 wooden steamships. Known collectively as the Ghost Fleet, these vessels represent a specific era in American maritime history. The concentration of these ships in one location makes the site particularly renowned. The Page-Ladson Site, ancient human presence in Florida. Some underwater discoveries push back the timeline of human history on the continent. The Page-Ladson Site, located near Tallahassee, Florida, on the Osceola River, has provided compelling evidence of a much earlier human presence in the Americas than previously accepted. Situated 26 feet underwater in a sinkhole, the site contains prehistoric stone tools and the remains of an extinct animal, a mastodon. Previous excavations in the late 20th century had found ambiguous evidence, such as a mastodon tusk with groove marks and some stone artifacts in sediment over 14,000 years old. However, between 2012 and 2014, a team led by anthropologist Jesse Halligan returned to the site and excavated more bones and several stone tools. Crucially, they found a biface, described definitively as a human-manufactured stone knife, which absolutely no way is not made by people. Re-examining the previously found mastodon tusk, the researchers confirmed the grooves were indeed cut marks made by humans during the process of removing the tusk. Radiocarbon dating of the sediment layer containing these artifacts placed their age at approximately 14,550 years old. This makes Page-Ladson one of the very few sites in the Americas with archaeological evidence pushing human presence back beyond 14,000 years. This discovery significantly challenges the long-held Clovis first hypothesis, which proposed that the first people to colonize the Americas were the Clovis people around 13,000 years ago. It suggests humans were in the southeastern United States as much as 1,500 years earlier than previously thought. The site's age also casts doubt on the theory that humans primarily entered North America via an ice-free corridor between ice sheets, as this corridor didn't open until around 14,000 years ago or later, meaning people were in Florida centuries before that route was widely accessible. The Page-Ladson site thus reopens fundamental questions about how and when the Americas were first populated. The cold case cars of Foss Lake. Sometimes, underwater discoveries help solve modern-day mysteries. In 2013, an unexpected find was made in Foss Lake, Oklahoma. 2 cars, both dating back to the 1970s, were discovered submerged. Initially, authorities suspected the cars were stolen, but a far more significant discovery was made. 3 bodies were found inside the first car. Subsequent investigation revealed that the 2 cars were linked to separate missing person cases that had gone unsolved for decades. A 1969 Camaro contained the remains of a group of teenagers who had been missing since late 1970, while an older Chevrolet held the remains of 3 people reported missing in 1969. The cars were brought up from the lake bottom, finally bringing resolution to these long-forgotten disappearances. While the discovery solved the mystery of the missing individuals, the exact reason for how the cars ended up in the lake remains unknown, with possibilities ranging from an unfortunate accident on unsafe roads to foul play. From ancient stone carvings predating known civilizations to modern vehicles holding tragic secrets, these American underwater discoveries span vast periods and reveal diverse facets of the continent's story. They highlight the power of nature, the persistence of human history, and the tireless efforts of explorers, scientists, and even chance encounters that continue to bring the submerged past to the surface. The waters covering a significant portion of America still hold countless untold stories, promising that the age of amazing underwater discoveries is far from over.